Welcome to Wholesale Hotline, where we cover everything to do with wholesale real estate. I'm Jamil Damji.
I'm Brent Daniels.
And I am Pace Morby.
And together we cover the most important parts of wholesale real estate.
Lead generation.
Conversion of sellers into contracts.
And dispositions. Guys, remember when you're watching this show, do us a favor and squad up in the comments.
Make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube channels and in the Facebook group Wholesale Hotline.
Most important, we want to know we're doing a great job for you and helping you build your business. So go give us a review on iTunes and or Spotify.
So squad up and enjoy the show.
Full of testosterone. Welcome to Wholesale Hotline number 165.
What do you want?
We are getting started here. This is a full house. Jamil, who do we have? Who do we have here?
Well, we got Pace Morby.
Woohoo!
No, you guys all recognize Pace, the king of creative finance, but a couple of dear friends of ours, I'll introduce one of them and allow Pace to introduce the other. For those of you that are unfamiliar, who have been living under a rock, don't watch sports because your fathers didn't want you to, or you just don't know anything about the world of professional boxing. Well, sitting to my left here is Berto. Yeah.
Champ.
This man... it's interesting to me to be able to sit next to him because I've watched him. I watched him on pay-per-view. I was a big fan, completely just always loved boxing. My dad used to watch boxing matches with me. He's ill right now, and so having an opportunity to be around people that he admired and people that he thought were incredible fighters, that this is very meaningful to me. So happy to have you here, bro. A big fan of you. Andre Berto, guys, is not here to talk boxing, though. Okay, Andre Berto has already been and is wholesaling houses, guys. He is a wholesaler in Florida, and this is what I'm talking about. The business has expanded in such a phenomenal way, and our reach and what we're doing is becoming so available. And people are seeing that they can find financial freedom through wholesale real estate, through creative finance, through strategies that are not your typical everyday buy and hold, boring strategies. All right. So I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to hang out because the champ said when he wanted to learn wholesale, he wanted to come learn wholesale from the champ. All right. Who else do we got here, Pacer?
Veena Jetti, one of my heroes, multifamily goddess. She's unbelievable. Top 1% hair in the world.
Thank you. I just told them I grew it myself.
It's Indian hair, though. You know,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until I met her. I was like, what is up with your hair? What is the statistic? I don't know what it is.
I lied and said it's top 1% here. I don't know if it
Hold
actually
on.
is.
Well, no, I would say it's top 1% hair, but what the funny thing is that there's such a market for Indian hair that not only do Indians have the top 1% hair, but so does your girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's a good chance that her extensions are grown in India.
That's true.
Now,
It
not
is
only
true.
do you have 1% hair, but you are in the 1% of the 1% in multifamily investors and in income producers in the world. So I look up to you.
Thank you.
My little sister.
Yeah.
Am I older than you?
Yes.
Okay, my little
Does that mean
sister.
I need more Botox?
You can just never tell.
The Botox is clearly not working and he's unsure.
Oh, come on, she's my sister. I can tease her.
No,
So,
it's family.
you're unbelievable in the multifamily space, raising capital as well,
Yes.
structuring deals.
Yes.
I have learned more vernacular in the last year of knowing you than I have 5 years prior.
Because I made you.
You made me.
I made you learn all of it.
And you also correct me on my spelling of multifamily. How do we spell multifamily properly?
One word, no hyphen.
Did you guys know that?
No, I didn't.
All the wholesalers are like,
I would have
Completely new
always thought
information.
there would have been a hyphen,
No.
but multifamily makes sense.
No, I like chase around his whole team. I'm like, guys, please stop spelling multifamily like
We're
this.
sitting over here like raising millions of dollars for multifamily, and my team is like sending out emails, and it's like multi.family. Yeah. It's a multi-pass.
You missed one thing. You missed one stat about Veena that is.
Oh.
She's I don't know.
I don't know what
I have
it
a lot
is
of
either.
stats around
I'm
it.
I'm
scared.
surprised that you wouldn't have said this.
No, what is it?
That you cannot get into a car with Veena Jetti and not have her harp
Safety
on you about
officer.
wearing your seatbelt.
Yes.
She is every vehicle safety officer.
I'm the safety officer.
Yeah.
I'm like the mom of the group.
Yes.
Andre, I noticed that you have Jamil's favorite watch on today.
A presidential.
That Jamil says to me, out of all the watches he could have, he has a lot of nice watches. You have a Rolex, you have a Breitling, you have all the things. But he says he wants an all gold presidential.
I
All
do
right.
that. That's why I put the other ones aside, and I bought this.
That's a nice.
You
got
got to tease him a little bit.
Good look.
What is it about
Nice
that watch
present.
that you love the most?
It's classic.
It's beautiful.
Oh, he said the same thing at the same time. It's a classic.
All the time.
Like, here's the deal, right? That Pac would have worn one just like that, and he wouldn't have been able to see the difference between Pac's and Andre's and the one that I'm a buy. That they're the same.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, Brent, you have something very special happening this week. What do you got going on?
We've got the Growth Summit this weekend.
Oh.
Pace Morby.
Wow.
Jamil Damji, are you
West Side.
Are you going to be there or are you leaving? Are you coming?
I am.
Pace, so here's the deal. Pace put you on the spot without you being
that
here
one.
a couple weeks ago
You know,
and said
I
that
know.
he's going to give up some of his time,
And then he
which he's
volunteered
got
his
an
time.
hour, which means he's got 3 hours because the hour is just him
Yes.
warming up and telling his good jokes.
Right.
And so you're more than
Yes.
welcome. We would be honored to have you on stage if you're still
Appreciate
in
it.
town.
Thank you.
Saturday, it starts 9 a.m. It's completely sold out, but you can watch it streaming, which is going to be
Ooh,
absolutely
nice.
incredible. So we have over 500 of the absolute best wholesalers in the country, all coming together. It's going to be absolutely bananas. It is not just style. It is substance in this event. It's going to be
Beautiful.
incredible.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Excited.
Yep.
Excited is an understatement.
I speak the first day. Jamil speaks the first day, and then Pace, you speak on Sunday. It's gonna be awesome.
Bring it home.
Yep.
Look at face. Yeah. Okay. I got it.
Guys, I'm really interested to hear how people or why people haven't asked the question yet is what the heck is the former world champion of boxing, okay, doing wholesaling houses? So I'm going to ask the question that hasn't popped up on the screen yet. Bro, you're rich,
Yes.
okay?
Yes.
You are financially free,
Yes.
right? All the things.
Yes.
And you are wholesaling houses.
You know, I love doing things that people don't expect me to do. And of course, just me, just wanting to get into the real estate space, just how my mind works. I want to just start from the ground up.
Do you like
And
when he talks? I feel like he's going to start boxing somebody at any moment.
I'm trying to get y'all to the. I'm trying to get y'all at a certain point, but yeah, man, I love it. And like I said, you definitely really kind of learn the fundamentals just of the game. Period. And of course, I have a lot of other properties I'm invested in as well. But just the real, like wholesaling space, man, I really love it. It's just, just something just to keep me going, just to keep me driving. So I really love it.
So you looking to hire a team? Are you looking
Yes,
to
I
put
do
that
have a
all
team, but-
together? Is that
I have a
where
team in
are you
place, but
doing deals?
I'm actually here, fine tuning my team.
Sure.
Me and my man Jamil. Of course, we're having some great conversations and, and just really just trying to dial everything in the right way. But I'm mainly like in the Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Texas area, down in the South. That's where I'm from. So I definitely know the areas pretty well.
So there's the visionary and then there's the operator.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to make the assumption that we know who the visionary is. So who's your operator? Who's running your business? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how do you find that? How do you find that coming from a world of like top of the top as an athlete, as you could possibly get, to then branching out? Is it somebody in your network already? Is it just something that naturally happened?
I have a huge network, of course, but it's just the fact we're just trying to put the pieces together. And like I said, that's one of the reasons why I'm here with Jamil too as well, because I know he's one of the best in the game at doing it.
Yep.
And like I said, he's helping me trying to make sure to just continue just putting the right people in the right places for my operation.
I love it.
That was good.
I love it. Who doesn't want to do a deal with Andre? Who doesn't want a deal? That would be amazing.
Maybe some people that he knocked out.
Well, sure. Yeah.
A lot of them.
A lot of them. That's half of Florida.
Yes.
You're from the South.
From the South, man.
What does that mean? What city? What state?
Born in Miami, raised in Central Florida, Polk County area, Winter Haven, Lakeland. And I always say Tampa and Orlando because nobody knows where Polk County is at, but it's like right in the middle, right in the middle of Tampa and Orlando. Yeah, to Orlando. The place is banging right now. I mean, like that area right now is just blazing hot right now, man. So it's great to see.
It's crazy.
It's just great to see the growth.
You cannot lose by buying in anywhere in Florida.
Crazy.
Everybody's moving there. People
Crazy.
are finally coming to their senses that New York ain't the spot. Chris,
Ain't
where are you
it?
at, Chris? Chris Jean-Baptiste lives in Brooklyn. He's doing deals all over the country.
Jean-Baptiste, I know you got that Haitian accent. Okay, Jean-Baptiste.
Jean-Baptiste.
I already know. Okay.
So
that's family right there.
Florida's an amazing market, but is that the main place that you're going to be focusing, or are you expanding out into like the Carolinas, Atlanta, anything like that?
Yeah, I think that's going to be where my main focus is, but I am going to be trying to expand over in the Carolinas and, like I say, the Georgias, the Texas. Like I want to stay in the southern areas right now. Sure.
Real quick, and I'll let him complete, but the buyers that he's selling to are a little different than our typical buyer base, and this is the interesting part that I want to.
Do they all have gold presidentials?
Yes, that's the piece. That's so typically, right? And here's the interesting fact about us, right? When we're wholesaling houses, we have specific buyer avatars.
Sure.
The majority of our buyer avatars either fit the fix and flip person. They're going to be, I want to buy this house, fix it, and sell it for a profit. You're going to have those individuals that are saying, I want to buy this and I want to hold it for whatever reason, they either depreciation or they're going to want to get cash flow from it for a rental, right? Not everything has to cash flow. Some things you buy don't cash flow, but you hold them because they have a significant amount of depreciation for you. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, my Rolls Royce doesn't cash flow. It don't cash flow, but guess what it does do? It saved me $140,000 on my taxes this year, so I'm gonna take it. So, and that's just what it is, right? Some things you buy because they have a good opportunity, good thing. But Andre's buyer pool is a little different than the rest of our buyer pool because his buyer pool are celebrities, and it's an interesting model that he's put together here. Because if we all look at the whole world of the celebrity client, these are very astute human beings. They're the top of their mountains in whatever thing that they're doing. They've made a tremendous amount of money, and now they have these big tax liabilities, and some of them are aging out of their field, right? Look, let's just be real. You, as a professional athlete, aren't going to be at the top or the peak forever. At some point, you get old. At some point, the muscles fade. The speed fades. And so you're not going to knock everybody out. You're going to have to be in another thing. You're not going to always be the number one rapper. You're not always going to be the number one producer. You're not going to be the number one whatever the entertainment modality is. These people have been being they've become prey for these predators that are out there stealing money from these entertainers.
Isn't that interesting? Like how you guys in the entertainment industry, you guys get a lot of people around you, not you specifically, but that whole industry. It attracts a lot of people to get their hands in your pockets.
It's easy. It's
right?
easy. Yeah.
Bad managers.
It's
right.
Easy.
Friends that are like entourage, maybe pulling money. Friends.
Because it's easy. Because like I said, like we've always been in a place where whatever it is, if it's music, if it's football, if it's basketball, if it's boxing, we're always told to just focus on the sport. Mm-hmm. Just focus on that. Yeah, I mean, delegate that
and
to
keep your eyes off the money while I watch it.
Keep your eyes off the money. Focus on keep making us more money.
Yeah,
and that's always just been the case, man. And I've seen so many guys, within our industry, man, they just get taken advantage of. But with me being that type of person, really see it and really try to, change the trajectory of it, and to just know, of course, because I'm in that space, to be the person that they can see that have been in their shoes. And that can really relate to them, to really take that other path and show them what else that we have out there for. And I just know that everybody's going to come running after.
Well, you heard that you listened to the bell get rang all the time when you're in the boxing ring, right?
Yes.
Well, tonight, Brent Daniels, don't ring it yet. Don't ring it yet. Let me build it up for just a second. Maj is in my community.
Maj.
Okay, Maj is his name.
Okay.
He is a classic overthinker. Like he will ask 15 questions you've never even heard before.
Oh, jeez.
He will invent words that don't exist just so he can ask another question about something he hasn't tried yet.
Okay,
He has finally broken through the overthinking, and he partnered with Justin Tumanowski and Ted Miller, and Maj just got his first sub
Come on, Maj.
assignment.
Come on, Maj. We saw it
Boom!
like that.
Ding, ding, ding. Maj. By the way, guys, shout out. It's one of the hacks of this industry and any industry is you want to be a better golfer, go play golf with people that are better than you. You want to be a better boxer, get into a gym with better boxers than yourself, right? You want to be a better real estate investor, go hang out with somebody who's a better real estate investor or more operations, more deals, more transactions.
Put your reps in.
And what's cool is when you go into Jamil's office,
crazy.
Efficient. Operations, right? All these things pop up in your mind and you see what's possible.
Yes. It's a different type of machine. I mean, of course, just me just knowing Jamil, speaking to him, and of course seeing you guys are so humble. You guys just hang out and chill. But when you walk into that office and see that operation,
you're like, damn.
I was like, really? This was going on? I mean, it's serious.
You know what it does is it gives you permission to go do the same thing.
Once you see it, you can't unsee it anymore.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Once you see it, you know it's possible. You can't unsee it. So
that's how it was for me with Brent when I needed to make a transition and upgrade my real estate industry or my real estate business. I went into Brent's office, my wife and I, and we sat there and we took notes on notes on notes on notes. And just being around him and Jamil has changed my life. Veena, being around you has changed my life.
Likewise.
I was part of my biggest transactions this whole entire year, not just in the deals that you and I did together. But also you gave me permission to go out and do a lot more multifamily with creative finance, like the 256 unit deal. I would have never done that if I hadn't met you.
Really?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
No, I think you would have.
I would.
I
would have.
now, but he would
5 more years down the road.
Maybe, yes.
Okay. And I just want to say I love you.
Well, I love you back.
I appreciate you.
You know, I've done my biggest deal since meeting you too.
Really?
Yeah.
How big was the deal?
Over $100 million.
Wow. Over $100 million deal.
Yeah. Spice.
Yeah.
She's talking
that we bought,
spice.
and I sold my largest deal over $100 million too. Since meeting you.
Crazy. Wow. You know what's funny is we're on this hike the other day, which I would have invited you to a hike, but the last time you went on a hike, you broke your ankle.
It's better that you didn't come.
He did, yeah.
I had no desire.
I almost died.
Last time we broke.
So we go on this
I
hike.
almost died.
We go on this hike, and she said, he snapped his ankle.
And then I broke my arm golfing.
Oh my gosh.
What's wrong with you?
That was almost
the only person
me.
who almost dies doing
You should make that.
It was your ankle, right?
You should make that scar look like a golf club.
You don't roll a lot of joints, but when you do, they're ankles, right?
Hey, I think we need to ring the bell for Veena's $100 million deal.
No,
Oh yeah,
bring it for me. Surviving the hike.
Big money.
No, I survived the hike. That was the thing.
What'd you hike?
This
We saw-
really
it's the
hard, like Mount
easiest thing
Kilimanjaro.
In Mount. See, so this is what my point. My point of the hike is
Did
this.
you guys climb South Mountain?
It's South Hill, bro.
No,
South Hill.
It was Mount Everest, I think.
So we get up to the maybe 20 minutes up the path. Half of it was downhill, and she says, this was harder than raising $100 million.
Yes, it was. It really was.
This woman has raised $100 million, and she said hiking that was harder than that. So It just tells you, it gives you permission to realize that you don't have to overthink this business.
Right. Also perspective, right? Because, for instance, for you've gone and stood in a ring with, you literally fought Floyd Mayweather.
Yes.
Right? Like I don't want to do that. I don't never want to fight.
I said I don't
ever want to fight that man ever. Doesn't matter what they put, whatever the size of check they put in front of me. I didn't care how many zeros were on there. I'd be like, I like to live. I don't want to do that. Right. So you're one of those individuals too. Like she raised $100 million like this, but hiking a little bit hard for me. Right?
It was really hard, not a little bit hard.
Right. For me, I ain't trying to get into a scrap with Floyd Mayweather. Right. What's that thing that pushes people out of their comfort zone and gets them to do the hard thing?
They're friends.
Yes.
Yeah, most
Being
likely.
in the right
a lot
rooms.
of peer pressure seems like around this table. A lot of peer pressure here. But for me, man, it's just the it's just the mentality just to be the best. That's it. It doesn't matter if it's Floyd, it doesn't matter if it's Tyson, it doesn't matter whoever it is. I mean, like I said, I grew up with a certain goal in my mind or what I want to try to achieve, and I've been in the space of just dominance for so long, and I just felt like I was just supposed to be there. This was my moment, and I worked, like I say, 15, 20 years to meet that moment.
That's great, bro.
We went ahead and made it happen.
Can I ask you?
He ran all night.
A question that may not be appropriate, but I have to ask it anyways, and you feel free of not answering it if you don't want to. How many fights have you had?
I've had 300 amateur fights.
Who is the smelliest person you've ever fought? I mean, in body odor and mouth. Like, who had the worst worst stank breath and the stinkiest body? Like, who's the smelliest fighter you ever fought?
I forgot his name. I ain't gonna put him out there like that, but he did smell like onions. It was pretty bad. I mean, armpits. I mean, he was grabbing.
But I was gonna say maybe that was a strategy.
I think it was. He was grabbing, clenching me, breathing in my face.
And you're like, no.
And just putting his armpit all over my head. So
you gotta say his name.
I had to try to get him up out of there quick. I couldn't take it. I had to try to get him up out of there quick. So it lasted probably 2 rounds, and I had to get it up out of there.
All right, so all you fact checkers there, find out who he knocked out in round 2 that potentially looks as though he smells like Indians. No, onions.
Wow.
I'm an Indian. That's okay. We smell like onions.
That's
it's
your
true.
people.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I mean, I smell like comfort. Maybe just you.
That's right, Tom, bro. That's crazy.
Brent,
we love it.
What do you got going on? What do you got going on at the event? What will the people be learning on the days? Break it down.
I have one VA that made us $800,000 last year.
Oh my gosh.
One.
Okay.
And I'm going to show you exactly how, by the way, only 11 deals. $72,000 average deals.
Damn.
There is power to quality.
Damn.
Where does your VA live, by the way? Where is this VA located?
She lives in Costa Rica.
Oh.
Really?
An American that moved to Costa Rica.
And I've been hearing about that too. A lot of VAs. I know a lot of guys have been putting a lot of VAs from from Colombia, Argentina, and the southern region over there instead of the Philippines now. So is that like the new wave? Or?
There's a lot of opportunities. I mean, there's Egyptians that are fantastic.
Really?
There's Filipinos that are fantastic. There is.
Didn't Max Maxwell just open a call center out in Egypt?
Wow.
Yeah.
I believe he did. He opened a call center out in Cairo.
Yep.
Wow.
And I was watching actually a video that he put out, and the people that it looks like he's hired over there sound legit. Like they got.
You just have to make them part of your team. The problem when you hire somebody that's virtual, that you pay them hourly, is they don't feel security, right? They feel like they're going to have a new boss in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They feel like they just have to get by to just try to get to the paycheck. But if you really talk to them on a daily basis and really break down their calls and really work on developing their skills, they are phenomenal.
Wow.
And that's what they're not robots. They're not just people that you could just pay $4 to $20 an hour and just hope that they're just going to run your business, and you never have to treat them with any kind of respect. Yeah. You have to really develop them, and if you do, they can be phenomenal.
Hey,
Love it. Yes, sir.
Can you read the question on read the question on the screen for us?
Yep. Sorry, I didn't bring my glasses today. So
you want me to read it for you?
Yeah, please.
All right. Nathan says, if you assign a contract to an end buyer, do they have to follow the terms of the purchase contract, or do they now have the right to change the closing dates or terms, now being the buyer? What a tricky and slippery question, right? Because there's actual multiple answers to this. I'd love to hear your take and Brent's take on this.
Well, it depends on the way that your assignment contract is actually written, okay? If your assignment contract is written in a way that says that the person that you're assigning the contract to is not allowed to change any of the terms, conditions, or elements within the original purchase and sale contract, then no, they can't. However, most boilerplate assignments out there don't have verbiage in there that state that. And so what ends up happening is because you've assigned the contract to this end buyer, they actually do have, now they're the contract holder. If they want to, they can communicate with the listing agent. They could communicate with the seller. They could actually go and renegotiate price if they wanted to. In fact, I was in a deal where I used the wrong assignment. I renegotiated a price drop, and I didn't get the price drop. Price drop went to the contract holder instead of me. And so I was like, oh, shoot. So that's what made us change up our verbiage on our assignment contract. But that's the answer. Depends on the way the assignment contract is written. If it's a standard boilerplate assignment contract that you got from somebody that's not Pace Morby, Brent Daniels, or myself, then very likely your assignment sucks. And very likely they can.
I see so many bad contracts. It's ridiculous.
If you got your contract from a reputable person who actually does business and isn't just a YouTube noodle, then there's a the other chance that you've got.
There's one YouTuber that I really think has good contracts too, is Jerry. Outside of us,
but Jerry's our brother. You know what I mean? He's different. Yeah, I should have added Jerry into that mix.
Here's an additional question to that question. Okay, so let's say that you assign a deal, Brent, to me. And I, your buyer, say, hey, Brent, I need like 4 more days to close because my hard money lenders give me a hard time. Is that something that you typically allow your buyer to do? Or do you say, nope, give me my earnest money and I'm moving on to a different buyer?
It depends. It depends on the relationship. But typically, I'm going to trust that they've got things in line. One, I'm going to know who their lender is. And I'm going to have a conversation with that lender. And I'm going to see what's going on with the delay. If it's just I'm trying to bounce things around and figure things out, probably not going to give the extension. They're probably trying to sell the deal at the very end, which is notorious for some of the bigger guys that we know in town. That they'll hold off until the last 3 days to try to sell that deal to somebody else. They have no intention of closing. If I start smelling that, then I'm gonna be like Andre here with that guy with the onions and knock it out quick. You know what I mean?
What I'll do in that circumstance, if a buyer says to me, hey, Jamil, I want to, I need extra time. I'll say, why? Yeah. Well, tell me, they give me the reason why. I'll say, okay, cool. So it sounds like a legitimate reason. It sounds like you have no worries that you're going to be able to make it happen in 4 days. No problem. I need another $10,000 earnest deposit. It's going to be released immediately. Yep. I'll give you the 4 days. Yep. Right, then this is what I'll do. I'll either close on it if the seller won't let me extend, because now I got an additional $10,000 in security that this guy's going to close. If I do close on it because the person doesn't extend, I pass those closing costs on to my buyer because they made me incur them. Yeah. And if for whatever reason the buyer doesn't perform, I've now made an additional $10,000 earnest money. I'll close the deal, resell it, made more money.
And it depends on the seller. It depends on the seller's situation, and if they're like, I need my money. Some sellers will literally tell you, I need my money by noon on the closing date, or it's yes, exactly.
I mean,
so it depends on
a bad position.
You remember that commercial?
Yeah.
It's my money and I want it now.
It's JG Wentworth. 877 cash now.
Yes, dude.
We revived it.
Okay, so Veena Jetti.
Yes.
Question on the screen. Myron Briley just sold me a sub-2 deal today.
Nice.
Love you guys so much, Dallas leaders.
Yes, they're the
Ask the
best.
question: should we partner with Veena or Pace on our multifamily deals?
And
Yes. Myron, you know the answer.
come on, that was a bad
you
question.
knucklehead. Okay, so I got a couple. Softballs for you. Okay.
Oh, softball's good. Okay, I can handle
It's interesting because you're multifamily.
Yes.
Multifamily has a very different perspective of every aspect of the business.
Yes.
Okay. if first off, you're not wholesaling deals, you're buying deals.
Yes.
Okay. Are there situations in the multifamily world where you, the buyer, need an extra 4 days, 5 days, et cetera, to extend to close escrow based on maybe a lender or something you found in inspection?
All the time.
Okay. Does that cause you to lose the contract and your earnest money?
It could, yes. So usually when we go into our deals, we negotiate it up front that, okay, if we have to extend by 15 days, we'll give you another $200,000 or whatever that number is. So we negotiate that up front. We try to negotiate
another $200,000 of earnest money or another $200,000
earnest
on top of the purchase price.
It depends.
Depends on what it takes.
Yeah, it depends on what it takes. So when we go into deals, in 2021, we closed 2 deals where we did it in 42 days. They were around $80 million on the purchase price. So we said, we will close with 21 days due diligence, 21 days financing, no extensions, period. And I think we put up like 4 million, 3 million hard day one.
Was it a smoking deal?
Yeah, they were
amazing.
It was fast, but in 2021, you couldn't buy anything if you weren't competitive.
Yeah.
So, and we weren't the highest bid. So this was the only way we could win deals is on the terms. And so we had to close. And so in that situation, if we hadn't closed in 42 days, we've been like, bye-bye, $2 million or $3 million.
I think, it's definitely contingent on the market, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was
and
in
if
Atlanta.
somebody has a really great deal as well, like if you know at Keegley that you can turn around and sell a deal in 15 seconds after somebody starts balking at, oh, I'm not going to be able to close on time. You go, no problem. We'll just sell it to somebody else, right? Yeah. Okay, next softball question for you. For the wholesalers out there,
Yes.
let's lay down some ground rules, okay? Because I'm also a multifamily buyer, and I do not love the way that wholesalers submit deals to multifamily buyers. What are some very obvious red flags when trying to wholesale a multifamily deal to somebody like Veena Jetti?
To me?
Yes.
Okay. One, do not email me from a Gmail email address. It's like $6 to get a professional Google address.
She criticizes me about this. By the way, everybody else on my whole team, Molly at Pace Morby, Heidi at Pace Morby, everybody at pacemorby.com. Mine is pacejmorby.com at me.com.
Yeah, I'm Jamil Damji at gmail.com, and I don't even check Jamil at keegley.com.
But here's the thing, right? You have a team that handles it.
But I was so nice when I yelled at you about it.
Yeah, you did.
So nice.
But I want to point this out. The multifamily world is way more buttoned up.
Yes.
Okay, you're not wearing t-shirt and jeans to a multifamily
You're
seminar.
wearing blazers and looking like insurance salespeople.
Yes. Wow. There you go.
Like very buttoned up.
Okay,
and
so
these,
different
small
mindset.
Nuances actually matter. Don't email me with multi-family in the anywhere in the email, right? Because that immediately tells me you're not a multi-family person.
She says anywhere in the email. Don't misspell it. It's one word, no hyphens.
Easy. Yes, it's easy. We even have like spell check nowadays. It's crazy.
Wow.
Okay,
So,
give me the big. There's a big one in here.
No,
I'm looking for.
hesitant to
Say it out loud.
Can I say one?
Yeah.
May I say one?
Maybe he'll say it.
Okay, guys, let me tell you what's up. Okay, first and foremost, when you're selling to a multifamily buyer, if you don't have that thing under contract, don't send it.
Don't do it.
Don't send
Don't
it.
even waste
I
your
get
time.
Stop it.
so many wholesalers. They call me up. So this just happened. And by the way, I recorded this on Zoom. I'm going to release this on YouTube in a couple of weeks. Wholesaler brings me a deal. Hey, seller's ready to go. They just they want to meet the buyer and go through the credibility. Okay. I go, okay, no problem. Yeah, makes sense, right? Because the seller financing me.
Okay.
So it's a
That
different
makes
world,
sense. Yeah,
right?
that makes sense.
So I get on a Zoom with
Checks
them.
out.
We're sitting there screwing around for like 16 minutes, just talking about this, that, and the other. And I'm like, all right, guys, what's the next step? And the seller goes, well, just let me know what your guys' offer is. I go, excuse me?
Wow. He brought you the deal. You figured it out.
This is what's funny. The wholesaler said, I got this thing under contract
crazy.
at this price. I go, that won't work. Here's the down payment. Here's the interest rate that will work. And for 2 weeks, I was going back and forth with the wholesaler.
Wow.
2 weeks. Abraham Gray and I get on this call. Wholesaler, seller, Abraham, myself on a 4-man Zoom. Seller says, I've never seen any of those numbers one time. Where did those numbers come from? And the wholesaler goes, well,
I was hoping.
I was hoping
I
that
was thinking
this could
these were-
start the conversation. So do not misrepresent yourself when you're
Yeah.
wholesaling.
And don't tell me you're direct to broker. I'm direct to broker.
Right.
I don't need you to be direct to broker.
This
Right.
is a problem. You get a
Yes.
lot of wholesalers that go out there and they say, I'm direct to seller. You're not.
Yeah.
You are direct to broker.
Yeah.
And if
I
you're
don't
direct to
want
broker, have control.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that
that's
means,
different.
yeah,
If
that
you
means
have
have
control,
earnest
it's
money up,
different.
have the executed contract, and then
Yes.
have known your numbers
Yes.
and what price you have that thing locked up at, that it's an actual deal.
Right.
I got on a deal with the Veena style buyer. Look, this is how I learned my lesson hard. Okay. Somebody brings me a deal. It's a wholesaler brings me a deal and they say, hey, we want you to buy this. And I'm like, okay, I wouldn't buy this myself personally, because I'm not buying this size of multifamily, but I know a lady who is. I'm going to bring her onto the call. If she likes the deal, I'll go in with her, because I don't know enough about what I'm doing right now in the space of multifamily to make educated decisions where I know I'm going to do it right. I'm going to, like a Veena, I want to partner with a Veena. No, because Veena knows it. I'm okay to hand $1 million over. I know that Veena knows what she's doing. She's not going to put me in a bad spot.
Yep.
So that's how I felt. Lady comes onto the thing. She starts asking questions like, okay, guys, so tell me a little bit about, do you have the P&L? Do you have the T12? Okay. What's a T12? What? Okay. Do you have a rent roll? And then all of a sudden she just disappears. Right? Because they can't answer any of these questions. Then I get a text message. She's like, you guys can finish jerking each other off. No, this is exactly what she says.
This
you guys
came from the wholesaler or the broker?
buyer, the lady who was going to buy. She goes, you guys
partner.
can finish jerking each other off. I've got better things to do with my time.
Wow.
And
Was it Veena that was the buyer?
no.
It was not me.
Excuse
So
me. I
would
know
say
this
that.
is. I apologize. I know there's children that might be listening in on that. That's what all I said was. It's about chicken. It's a type of chicken. Jerk chicken's very good.
Yeah.
So
Smooth recovery.
very good. Very good. It's Jamaican, delicious. Anyways.
Okay, so you got when you're saying you're direct to broker, mean that you're direct to broker.
Yeah, or you
Now,
have control over
here's the other thing.
Yeah.
Okay, because this is what I see a lot. People bring these deals to me and they say, here's the price plus what?
3% buyer's fee, and it drives me up a wall.
Why? Tell me why.
Because in multifamily, especially large multifamily, we do not pay that much to brokers. Like CB does not make that much money on our deals.
What do they make? A point? Point and a
Not
half?
even. The larger the deal, the lower the broker fee is. Because you have to remember, they double dip too. Because if they're selling the deal for us, they probably sold it to us less than 5 years ago. And then they're going to sell it again. So this might be their 4th or 5th time dipping on that asset.
Wow.
And so when you come to me and you say plus a 3% fee, I go, oh, this is a single family person that has no idea what they're doing in multifamily. And they're never going to be able to close this deal in a million years, even if it's a great deal, because there's so many moving pieces. We looked at a multifamily deal together, right? And in the 2 days we looked at it, there were 100 different things we looked at. And that was just a small sliver of analysis, right? And so when you're actually transacting on deals this size, like I have to do due diligence on 500 units in 3 days sometimes.
Wow.
And I have to do a lease audit on 500 units. And that's just the lease audit and the due diligence piece. There's all the other things that go into transacting. So if you tell me a 3% buyer's fee, I
delete those emails immediately.
I just blacklist them. I will never look at another deal from you. Even when you learn about multifamily, I'm not doing business with you.
So tell me how do I navigate that if I am wholesaling a deal? Because I do buy deals from wholesalers.
I have too.
Last year I paid $210,000 on one assignment fee last year on a multifamily deal.
I would do that.
Okay?
I would
Happy to
fee.
pay them.
Yes.
But what happens is they say, what kind of fee would you pay me if I could bring this type of deal to the table? I go, well, it depends on the cash flow and how much cash outlay I have and blah, 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 blah. Just so happens this was a 50-year note, 3% interest, $0 down. It's also my San Angelo deal where my tenants are trying to kill people. So it's a good one. It's like a circus. You go to that property, it's like, wow, am I in the circus right now? This is crazy.
Welcome to C class.
Welcome to C class. Circus. Is that what it stands for?
Yes,
Circus?
sir.
Circus, yeah.
Wow.
Did you guys see that on my Instagram story? My tenant was trying to make out with one of my students. Okay, so if I have a deal or I want to do wholesale, let's talk specifically for you.
Okay.
If I want to bring a multifamily deal to you and I'm not a broker, how can I do that without upsetting Veena Jetti?
Okay, so we already covered like the
With
email
the
address.
terrible
We
email
covered the
address.
spelling mistakes.
Okay, so we've covered the crazy parts. What are the real parts though? Because it's a little like the Gmail thing.
Here's the other thing that a lot of
The
wholesalers
hyphen,
do. They go,
you can get over that.
They go, I have a multifamily deal. It's 200 units in Texas.
So you want all the details.
I want some details, right? Like most legitimate people that have control over a deal, they don't have an issue sharing name, maybe not, depending on who the seller is, right? They might not want it out there.
So you want them to have control.
I want them to have control.
And will you? And
it's not a deal if you don't have control of the deal.
Guys, I keep saying every person because I teach so many wholesalers, okay? And they all come to me at some point. I get this message, a DM, an email, Jamil, you won't believe what I got my hands on, man. I got this 600 unit. And right then I'm just like, stop it.
Immediately no.
Go back to single family where there's traffic. That's where we get hit. Nobody's buying your 600 unit building, but it's a good deal. Actually, it doesn't matter if it's a good deal. Why? Well, okay, let's just say it's a smoking deal. How are you going to sell it? Well, I'm going to bring a buyer. I said, oh, do you think any buyer who's going to buy a 600 unit deal is going to buy it and you don't control it? Silence. Do you think they're not going to go directly to the seller or directly to the broker or whoever you're working with and just get the deal done?
Facts.
What about I'll bring it to this big time buyer and they'll teach me. And now I'll go out there and I'll find them so many more deals.
This is the thing. On a 600 unit deal, that is a very large deal.
Sure.
There are very few.
Call it 100.
Yeah,
call it 100.
You
Okay,
still
even
got the
100,
time or care to do that?
There are very few buyers for these types of deals compared to single family deals, right? And so you have to remember that when you're going to these buyers, if someone has, let's say anything above $10 million, someone who can close on a $10 million deal is probably fairly seasoned at what they're doing. Like, you're not going to pull one over on them to get this deal done. So you're absolutely right. On a 600 unit deal, especially, like, if you don't have control, I don't really need you in the deal because every broker in my market knows me.
Even a 20 unit deal, if you don't have control, don't play.
Yes, don't
have control this. And if you don't know the numbers, learn from somebody who knows the numbers. Like, why? It's like this. Why is anybody writing offers on single family houses before they learn what ARV is and what percentage of ARV they need to be locking stuff up at? Why even go out there and start talking to multifamily sellers if you have no idea what stuff is worth?
Yes. Yeah.
I have this conversation all the time. I believe that the way a brand new person should wholesale is start with the buyer, not with the seller.
Yes.
When you're brand new. Now, if you or I go into a new market at our experience level, we could go and lock up a deal from a seller directly without talking to a seller or talking to a buyer because we know what a good deal looks like.
Yeah.
We know how to comp. We know how to verify looking at what other people are doing. But if you don't know that, you got to do the market research. And so people go, oh, well, I learned on YouTube that I should go talk to sellers first and then go find a buyer. No.
Because they hear this. If the deal's good, the money will find you.
They're always going to be buyers for it.
No. I've seen a lot of good deals get canceled on. And guess what? Guess what money doesn't have? Brains, eyeballs, mouths, ears, feet, hands. It ain't going to call you.
Right.
You're going to need to find somebody who has that money.
If you were going to start a car dealership in Beverly Hills, would you start a used minivan car dealership in Beverly Hills?
No, because it's the wrong demographic.
Right. And same thing with El Paso, Texas. Shout out El Paso. You guys have great tacos, but would you start a Lamborghini dealership in El Paso, Texas?
No.
So know your demographic, know your buyer, do market research before you
Google if there's a Lambo
dealership.
I can guarantee you there's not a Lambo dealership.
I just want to know for giggles, please.
So what does that mean? It means talk to your buyers, make sure you know what the hell you're doing. What I did, the hack for me when I jumped into the business was relying on my friends Brent, Jamil, right, and other people in my local market. I go, I don't want to learn how to comp right now. I want to learn how to be the best closer I can be personally.
Yep.
And so I focused on finding the bunnies, right, my famous finding bunny story. And I didn't care about value because my buyer told me the value, right? I would text Jamil. I don't know how many times I'd text you. I go, how much should I pay for this house? Never once comped a house. My first 100 deals didn't comp a house. Really? No.
Wow.
They used to lock me in a room, bro. I legitimately
do these numbers for me.
I was locked in a room for the first 3 years of Keeg Lee being ran. All I would do was comp houses all day long.
But you changed the whole industry in that because before you would try to have a conversation with somebody that you knew was a big buyer, and they would be like, they would tell you, unless you have that deal, I'm not competent.
Yeah.
They would tell you like, do you have the deal? Don't mess with it. Or worse, they try to, go around and try to get the deal, right? You changed it. You were like, we'll comp everything. We love everything. Come to us. Come to us. We will look at everything. But it's a different type of hustle
we're
than it is.
Buyer than that because this buyer is dealing. They're dealing in the tens or hundreds of millions of dollars.
But that's what people need to understand.
Right.
Is there's a difference between what you've brought to the industry and what's going on with these bigger deals.
How many deals are you doing a week?
None.
Yes.
None. That's the big thing with multifamily.
2 a year, maybe.
Right. If we don't do 2 deals, if I don't do 2 deals in a day, I get stressed out.
Yes.
Like, wow, my whole business is falling apart.
Oh my
Absolutely.
God, I'm over here like 2 deals in a quarter. What is happening?
That's crazy.
Yeah, we do not do volume.
Right.
We do size. Size matters.
Yeah.
Oh,
Does well, she said it. She said it.
There she goes.
I'll have a conversation with Laura later.
Do you think it's true that you can either be good at golf or good at sex, but not both?
I'm great at golf.
13
Horrible at
days.
sex. I can guarantee you that.
As of
It took us 6 years to get pregnant. So I had to. You know when I figured out how to make babies. The same way I figured out how to get into real estate. I hung out with people that were good at real estate. I hung out with Jerry Norton, who was popping out babies every year, and all of a sudden,
I feel like we missed a significant part of this conversation.
okay, check this out. This is interesting. This is a real story. Took us 6 years to get pregnant with Corbin, and 2 weeks to get pregnant with Monday. What was the difference?
Jerry Norton.
I lived in. I moved into Jerry Norton's house. The pheromones. All of a sudden, we're like barbarians getting
He's
pregnant.
the only
Yeah,
man
Jerry,
I know
he
in the
has 10,
history
right?
of
He has 10.
human
He has
beings
10
that
kids.
got his wife pregnant
He has 10
after a
kids.
vasectomy.
That's crazy. He has
Yeah.
10, right? He has 10 kids.
10
now.
kids. Yeah, he was
That's-
only supposed to have 9.
He's a
The
wild
10th
man.
one snuck out.
Hey, my wife has something to tell you,
man.
Jerry.
He's
Or
a beast.
Brent.
Got a
There
big
she
club.
goes.
My wife says I have a big club. It's a tight list. It's a tight list. Don't worry about it. By the way, Munif Saza, shout out to Munif. I went and visited a property that you sold to me today down in Santan Valley. Awesome property. I don't have to do anything to it except fix the sliding glass door that I had to break to get into the house.
Amazing.
This is what happens all the time. Agents, my commissions are paid? Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm going to go pick up my armless box so I don't have to worry about picking that up. I'm not going to leave any keys for the buyer, and I'm out. And then you can't get a hold of the buyer. So what I'm doing is I get down to the house. I'm like, guys, where's the lockbox? Oh, the agent took it. I'm like, that means we've paid them. They left the second they got paid. So I have to throw bricks in half my houses
Oof.
To get in?
to get in.
Is that how you got into this one?
That's how we got
you
in
broke
today.
a window?
I actually had one of my transaction coordinators at the house today, and I had her throw a brick through the
Nice.
window.
Jeez.
Okay, so Veena,
Violence.
Yes.
It's violent.
let's talk about something for a moment in the multifamily world.
Okay.
Hey, by the way, guys, Matt, can we show the live audience? Is there a possibility we can show the live audience? He's switching it up.
I love
I like when he says, yep.
it.
Yo, live audience, say hello.
everybody.
We got a packed house. That's so freaking weak. Yo, let's go. There we go. Guys, if you ever want to stop by Wholesale Hotline on Mondays, the address, DM Jamil, myself, or Brent for the address. All right, Veena, what is happening with defaults in multifamily? I'm hearing defaults. What is
there's
a
a lot of
default?
them.
Why is multifamily different in single family in the sense that you don't hear about defaults from
Yeah.
investors in the world because of interest rates? What the freak is going on?
Yeah. So a lot of buyers bought deals in the last 3 to 5 years with bridge debt or short-term debt, which was great at the time because the interest rate was relatively low. But what happens is if you don't put a rate cap insurance on it, it's an adjustable rate.
What is rate cap insurance for the wholesalers?
So basically, rate cap insurance means if you buy with, let's say,
I need hubcap insurance because I'm married. You know what I'm saying? Did you guys see my post the other day?
No.
You men out there need to make a lot more money because you got to keep fixing your rims from your wife
No.
banging into.
You need to hire a driver.
Do you have? Hey, do you have?
What is happening?
Are your rims banged up?
Yeah, make more money.
Are your wife's rims banged up too?
She's banged up her rims and my car rims as well.
There you go.
You guys need
She
to
does-
hire a
she-
driver.
She doesn't
that
drive
cap
my.
rate
She doesn't
insurance?
drive my
Right.
rolls though.
It's
So the
similar.
rims on the rolls are
Oh, good.
pristine. Yeah.
Pristino.
No.
Pristino. Okay, so what is cap rate insurance? What does that mean?
So cap rate insurance is, let's say you buy a deal with a 3.5% interest rate, and the rate is going to adjust. So usually it's some spread over whatever the prime rate is at the time. And as we know, the Fed has raised the rate very sharply and very quickly. And so now the rate is maybe double what you had bought. So if you were adjusting with the market, you might be at 7, 8, 9% now, depending on what your spread is over prime. A rate cap insurance means that no matter where the rate goes, you will never, ever, ever pay more than 5% or 6% or whatever that number is. You can buy different caps on it, and it's more expensive the lower you bring it. But what's happened is a lot of buyers went in and did not buy the insurance.
Is that inexperience or is that just they wanted the numbers to look better?
Yes.
Both. Yes. Yeah. Yes is probably the right answer.
Yeah.
Because
Now the rate changed during the bridge term.
yes.
So they just all of a sudden 1 month they were paying, let's call it 5.5%.
Right.
They get a letter in the mail and it's now 8.5%.
Yes.
Wow.
And it happens like that.
Like
And it just
overnight
goes.
because the Fed was raising the rate like 75, 50, 20.
So are most bridge debts adjustable?
Yes.
And what kind of notice do they need to give you in order to adjust?
No, it adjusts.
Yeah, you're done.
Wow.
Like you're going in knowing that these are the terms.
Here's the challenge in multifamily.
That's crazy.
Okay. Challenge in multifamily is most investors' exit strategy is not what my exit strategy in
Right.
single family or his is in single family or yours is in single family, which is hold for a long period of time. Every once in a while, you probably not because you're a cash guy, but I will do cash out refis probably every 10 to 15 years, pull big chunks of money out, let my tenants pay down my new loan. Why is that a good thing? Single family has fixed debt.
Right.
Whatever my
For
payment
long periods of time.
for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Multifamily, like
No, we don't
99% of your debt is shit debt.
Yes.
It's shit.
yes.
And so what does that mean? It's temporary.
It's temporary. But the reason,
But why?
the
What are
reason
why are people getting temporary debt? Is it because
Right.
their exit strategy is holding it long term, or what is their exit strategy?
it's usually a shorter term hold, especially compared to single family homes. But really,
For
when you're
what
buying,
though? What are they trying to do with the
when
property?
you're buying value add, right? You're trying to force appreciation on the asset.
And
You're
then
trying
exit.
to
Yeah.
either exit or refinance it at that point. The problem is if you try to refinance it or exit in year 2 or year 3, which was not unusual on value add assets in the last 10 years, what happens is you have to make these huge prepayment penalties if you're in this long-term fixed debt. Long-term being 10
So
years.
you've got all these
7
syndicators. So let's go back 2018, 19, 20.
Yeah.
You've got all these syndicators, hyper competitive,
Yes.
right? Everybody's raising money.
Yeah.
You got all the Veena Jetties
Yes.
and everybody less skilled as you
Yes.
trying to compete for the same deal.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is they're saying no cap rate insurance, like Brent is saying,
Yeah.
like, okay, they missed out on that.
Mm.
They also are saying, well, the market's trending upward.
Yeah.
So instead of us thinking it's going to be a 5-year flip on this, because that's
And
really
do it
what
in
multi,
like 2 years. Or
we're
3
going to do 2 years, and they're underwriting their numbers incorrectly.
Yeah.
COVID hits,
Mm-hmm.
inflation skyrockets. Fed comes along and says we got to raise rates
Yeah.
to curb inflation.
Yep.
Rates go up.
Mhm.
Now what happens is the buyers for these multifamily are like, I can't buy it at the what you need
No.
to sell it for to make this work, and your debt is a ticking time bomb.
Yes.
Wow.
So what's happening right now is we're talking not billions, we're talking like nearly $1 trillion over the next 3
Yeah.
years of multifamily ticking time bomb.
Here's the other thing I think is gonna happen too. There's gonna be a lot of people going to jail
Ooh, why?
Why is that?
because of the ways they raise the
Yep.
way they raise the money.
Whoa.
Because let me tell you what happens, okay? This is life. This is how people are, okay? When things are going well,
It's a party.
nobody cares.
Sorry.
Nobody cares that you did your PPM correctly, that you did your registrations correctly,
Until there's a victim.
until there's a
So
victim.
people lose money.
And then as soon as somebody loses money and things go wrong, it doesn't matter that the person, let's just say the person who raised the money didn't even do anything wrong.
Yeah.
They did it all. Their intentions were pure. They wanted everybody to win. They even didn't take any money from any fees on any of the money being raised. Let's just say all of that they're clean. However, they didn't have a couple of their things appropriately registered with the right people. And now all of a sudden, you got a couple folks now who are like, I went to zero on this investment, or I'm losing money on this investment. And they have an attorney. That attorney is going to say, well, who told you about the investment? Oh, this person. Oh, okay, let's
Don't
look them up.
point at me. I didn't tell
No,
you about this
no,
investment.
no. But it's like, oh, this person. Okay, well, let's look them up. Wait, did they give you a document called a private placement memorandum? I have no idea. What did they give you when they showed you about it?
Yeah.
Oh, they just, there's some emails. Let me see the emails. Oh, yeah. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, this person didn't raise the money right. Now, guess what
Class
happened?
action.
Class
Because
action.
then they go to
Every
everybody.
person who's involved, they go to every person that's involved in that deal, and that person goes to jail. That's how it ends.
Here's something scary too. You ever get suggested stories in your Instagram? It's like 3 years ago today, 4 years ago today, 5 years ago today. They can go back and look on all your social media that you posted, and you're like, hey, looking for lenders, looking for this, looking for whatever. Even if you were, they call it conditioning the market, as you already know. What people do is they go, I'm about to have an investment available in 60 days. I'm about to do this, that, and the other. You can't condition the market. Is that correct?
It depends, right? I know I'm like talking like a lawyer now. It depends. Because like if you're using a public raise exemption, like an exemption that allows you to raise publicly, it's probably okay somewhat, depending on what you're saying, how you're saying it. If you're relying on like a 506B, which is a private raise, no, you cannot generally solicit or generally induce an investment. So that probably would go against the exemption. But, it's up to the SEC. I think the bigger problem is actually not even what you said. I think the bigger problem is there were a lot of people that have been raising capital in exchange for a fee or some percent of the GP. And that is called a broker-dealer violation. So unless you're a broker-dealer, you cannot receive transaction-based compensation
this
or
happens
success fees.
all the time. People
Yes.
are like, I'll raise money for you for
Give
this,
me
this, and this.
much
A
of the
piece of the
GP.
deal. Or,
When I raise money with Veena,
Yeah.
we have to go through like
They
2
do their
layers of
own-
attorneys.
yep.
My
Yep.
attorneys, her attorneys, they have
Yep.
to go through everything, tell me, pull my pants down. They want to know what color underwear I'm wearing. They want to know everything.
Yeah.
Okay. In order for me just to raise money with her.
As they
right?
should.
As they should. Okay. So we got into the weeds because this is interesting
Yes.
for all of us. But here's what's happening in this space.
Yes.
Just to tee you up
So-
for the question.
Yeah.
Syndicators, people that are raising money, that's what a syndicator
Yes.
is. Syndicator says, I don't have the money to buy the deal. I'm going to aggregate and go and raise money from
Yes.
all of you guys.
Agreed. Yep.
Okay. I'm going to go find private money. I'm going to find investors, not private money lenders.
Yes.
And I'm going to bring them into this deal.
Yeah.
I'm going to give them 60, 70, 80% of the
Sure.
deal. And my team is going to take 20, 30, 40% of this deal,
whatever
depending
the
on
structure
whatever.
is. Yeah.
Our plan is to sell this deal to a REIT, a hedge fund of some sort,
Yeah.
whatever,
Somebody.
another Veena,
Yeah.
right? In 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
What we're going to do is we're going to use the money, 5 years, whatever, it doesn't matter what it is. We're going to use the money to improve the property,
Yeah.
forced appreciation. Jamil uses it and talks about this all the time.
Yeah.
I'm going to force the appreciation
Yes.
of this asset by raising the rents because I've done nice things to the property.
Yep.
Okay. Something you and I are doing in our North Carolina deal.
Yes.
Both of our North
Dude,
Carolina
yeah.
deals. So then we're going to reposition this asset after rents have been raised. P&L looks really nice.
The
T12 looks.
T12.
Nobody knows what a T12 is. They think it's something else.
Okay.
They think it's
Trailing
T12
12.
is the same.
They think
as
it's a
P&L.
vitamin shot.
I mean,
Tom Brady.
the same thing as
The
a
Tom
P&L.
Brady. The Tom Brady.
We basically just have like our whole own language in the multifamily world.
They're
and
like, how do we
make this hard
differentiate
for
ourselves from
everyone?
single family gross
for all of
people?
you,
Okay.
So now these
I
people,
can't be bothered
You
with
here's what's happening.
the commoners.
They go get there's two things that are happening. There's a lot of these loans that they've acquired when they
Yes.
bought them
Yeah.
are now coming due because they
Yes.
got bridge debt, which means they
Yes.
only had 3, 5, 7-year loans, and then those loans have to
term,
be
yeah.
paid back. Okay. And also the second thing that's happening is some of these loans that they paid too much for the asset compared to the
Correct.
current condition we're in now.
Cap rate expansion.
So
yeah.
now you've got $100 million asset is no longer worth $100 million.
Mhm.
They bought it for 100 thinking, let's sell this for 140
Right.
in 3 years, 5 years, whatever. Now that asset that they bought 2 years ago, because of current interest rates, is now worth $89 million.
Wow.
Because cap
And
rates
they have
expanded.
private money lenders they have investors
Investors.
money, going back to your comment about jail. So they have a group of investors that have all invested in this deal
Yeah.
and this syndicator. And now the syndicator's sitting in their room at night saying, "Holy
When are the windbreakers
shit.
coming? When are the
When
windbreakers
are
coming?
the windbreakers coming?" And there was a guy, I don't want to get really bad about this, but there was a guy, remember the building in Tempe, downtown Tempe, the really beautiful one?
Oh, yeah.
The owner syndicated money for that.
Yep.
And he ended up jumping off the exact building,
heard this.
killed himself.
Wow.
There's going to be a lot of that going on. I'm not hoping it happens, but just history doesn't repeat itself. It rhymes.
That's tough.
And what's right now, the rhyme is, back then it was all of the real estate. Right now it's primarily multifamily and commercial stuff that is going to implode over the next 36 months or so. What the hell do people do, Veena? What do they do?
Buy more.
Buy more?
Wait.
But let's say I'm a
You
syndicator.
You wait though; it's not time yet,
No,
right?
we're seeing it now. I sent you an article last week, 3
Yeah.
days ago. It was the biggest multifamily news this week. There was a 4-property portfolio in Houston.
Mhm.
You saw it that was foreclosed on,
Wow.
and it's actually really sad
But the
because
investors get their
all-
money back, right?
all of the LPs lost
No.
everything. Everything.
Yeah,
Every
that's
dollar
crazy.
gone.
Can I just say that every dime that I invested with anybody else in 2022 has gone to zero
How?
because everyone sucks.
Like, how is this possible?
No,
Travis?
no.
happening,
I was in
Jamil?
a syndication, okay, building now.
Where was it?
One of the best parts of Phoenix.
Oh, in Phoenix.
Beautiful part of Phoenix.
Yeah.
And these are great operators. These are people who've been doing it a long
Yeah.
time. I call homie up. I'm like, hey, how are things looking? He's like, well,
How is their
But was it
debt
out of
looking?
their
That's
control,
the question.
you know, have you heard how that song ends? Cow's mom is it? No, that's how basically is what he's telling me this whole thing is. It's a B. It sucks. It's not going anywhere.
No, wait, but what's the debt like?
I don't know.
That's the right question right now. It's not where is my
the debt
equity?
is the debt is good. They have an ability to it's something we're gonna hold.
Oh,
Okay.
then it's fine.
Yeah, then it's fine.
just-
Again,
listen, you just have
If
to.
the debt
Anybody
is-
who
You
gotta wait
can
it out
weather the
pretty much.
storm
Yeah.
for the next few years
Yeah, you just
is
gotta
going to
wait
be
it out.
fine.
The debt we're talking about is a ticking time.
It's
Yes.
like it's expiring with last quarter and this quarter.
it's just
That's a problem.
But also, Veena, that like the fact that the day I bought it, right? The day I bought that, my expectation was that we were buying this thing at 60 cents on the dollar, 65
unless it
cents on the
was
dollar.
wholesaled, it's
It was a very not
total reposition.
a very big reposition.
Okay.
It was a complete
Okay.
it was a gut job all
Okay.
through and through. Okay. So I was expecting that we had some, potential equity sitting in there, right? With some risk.
Okay,
Okay. So now
you found the risk.
yeah, now we see it. Now we see what it is. At best, this will be a great depreciation move for me.
It will be, yeah.
And if I do get some of the money that I put out, I'll get some. But that was like one deal. Every other deal I got into was janky people, janky situations, Ponzi schemes. Like it's like
Stop investing in Ponzi.
no, but it all
schemes.
comes out.
That's
It
what
all-
this is like a pro tip
No, no,
for
it all
everyone
it all
listening.
comes out. This is
Don't
what
invest in
I'm
Ponzi.
just saying, guys. Everything's a Ponzi scheme. Yo, most contractors' entire businesses are Ponzi schemes.
I know, because I had
So
a
I write
contractor
a
that did that
50
to
I write a
me.
50% deposit to a contractor. Hey, go do my work for me. Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
I just gave my money to a Ponzi scheme.
That
Everything's a
actually-
Ponzi scheme.
That happened to me on my personal house. I had a contractor that worked on it for a year and took the money and used it for
This
another
guy's like,
job.
this
And
is
I'm like,
blowing
what is
my mind.
happening?
I'm sorry we don't meet, but
Yeah.
this is real, guys. Like this is true life.
Yeah.
Well,
Deep
what
conversations.
opportunity does this provide in the wholesale world for a whole? Because this audience,
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about
is a
it.
wholesale audience. How can they capitalize on what's happening?
Go find the people
Go
who have
crazy.
debt that's about to expire and they're going to get foreclosed onto the bank and see if you can even if there's no equity in the deal when you pull it out, it's better than them having it foreclosed because that just kills their ability to do anything going forward.
You want to do a training with me on?
I always want to do everything with you, Pace. So
Let's
yes.
get Ken McElroy.
Yeah.
And he has Black Knight data.
Yeah.
And what?
Oh.
And he'll pull all the mortgages from
Oh, that'd be
all
cool.
the multifamily and show
See
everybody
who's
where
coming
it's
up.
coming expired.
Wow.
We can collaborate with Ken McElroy. And we'll
love
do
it.
a training for everybody.
I love it.
You down for that?
Yeah, because even if you had long-term debt, if your debt is expiring now and you haven't held it for a really long time, you probably are potentially upside down just on the value. Like you said, cap rates have expanded. So yes, we should do that. That'd be awesome. Let's buy all the things.
There's always
Buy
an
all the
amazing
things.
opportunity everywhere you turn.
Yeah, this is going to be probably the greatest opportunity that we've ever seen in our entire lives.
Does anybody hold them long term?
Yeah, so there's a HUD product, which is actually a pretty good product, but it comes with, its own set of issues, right? It's like pick your poison a little bit. But a HUD I think it's like a 40-year term. We don't do HUD typically.
Fixed?
40 years fixed. But there's, the other side of it is the maintenance and the upkeep post-close is really tough on HUD loans. So you have to have someone who really knows and understands HUD loans. But, there's opportunity in every point of the market cycle. And a lot of people think like, oh, the last 10 years have been the greatest 10 years and they've been really great. But like, this is where money is really
Right,
made.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
this is the real opportunity. It's been great the last 10 years, but the next 10 years,
So it just goes on sale every 10 years?
I
that's when you buy
think
and-
so. Buy the dip, right? Isn't
Buy
that
the
like,
dip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's like the basics of making money in anything is buy the dip. And so,
A couple people I know that are buy and holders personally. Bobby Castro, he's a big buy and holder.
That's my guy.
He everything is owned. He doesn't syndicate. Everything's just his own family office.
Mhm.
yeah.
My guy, Bobby.
And I was just going to talk about family. You're a family office girl. You love family
Yes.
offices. And I just hired my first family office. So
Yes.
trending in the right direction, which is
Yes.
great. But also Ken McElroy and Robert Kiyosaki, they hold all their stuff and they'll refinance every once in a while. They're not syndicating anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So why do people syndicate?
Because a lot of people don't have the money to buy millions of dollars in assets, right? And so, I mean, if you really ask me, the best way for someone who's just starting out is to start out with creative finance. It's just people don't know about it, and that's the problem. So if you're starting with creative finance, then your risk is much lower than if you're
Talking about
syndicating
specifically in multifamily.
Yeah, in multifamily
Yeah.
specifically. But and like quite frankly, like I didn't even know you could really creatively finance until I met you.
Yeah.
So that was, that's a big problem. There's a big knowledge gap for a lot of new multifamily.
I'm too skinny to fill that gap. I need all your guys' help.
And I'm helping you. I'm trying to help you.
Syndicating is a really great way to get into the game, but what ends up happening is there are some negatives with syndicating, which means that now you're responsible to other people that want their money back in a quick timeline.
Yeah.
Right.
So it forces you to essentially flip that asset within 3 to 7 years, right?
Yeah. So without getting like too technical, there is a term called like promote crystallization.
Hold on, I got to write this down. Is that a new drug that's hitting the streets?
Yeah, promote crystallization.
Crystal? Is that crystal?
Crystal
promote?
That sounds illegal.
That sounds illegal.
That
He
sounds
said.
illegal, doesn't it?
That sounds illegal.
So what? You add baking soda? What?
Yeah, and you gotta have your like lab glasses and lab coat out. No, but so this is a term that, and it's a way to align the sponsor or the active investor like us and the LP, especially in new development. It's a great way to align all of the interests of the deal. And the reason you use it is to basically you preserve a promote structure where the sponsor gets incentivized as if they sold the deal. But then now, because they're being incentivized in that way, they can actually hold the deal longer. So there's no big incentive to turn around and flip it again because they're still making money. Their investors do really well. So it's just like another structure.
My favorite thing about real estate is that there's always something to learn.
Yes.
It's a never-ending video game that we all get to play.
I love it.
There's people, a couple years ago, I wouldn't have known what the word promote means.
And now you know what a promote crystallization is.
And I wouldn't have known what sponsor, like wholesalers that don't know what a sponsor is, raise your hand. Come on. Boom. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like the fact that you say these words and it's normal for you, it's like putting on a pair of pants for you. There's people in the audience that don't know what a sponsor is.
Yeah. Okay.
And I know multifamily, you guys are very fancy and buttoned up.
We're fancy.
And like people criticize, when I go to multifamily places, they always criticize me. Oh, you wear a hat to these things. Oh, you wear a hoodie to these things.
Get an email.
Get an
email address, please.
Okay, so tell us a couple of things. We got so much time. This is great. Tell me, what is a sponsor?
Yeah, okay.
And what is a GP? And is there a difference?
Yes, there is a difference. So people don't realize this because a lot of sponsors and GPs use them interchangeably, which is wrong. So a sponsor of a deal is who is putting out the offering in the PPM. It should tell you very clearly who your sponsor is. So on my deal,
what's the PPM?
PPM, the private placement memorandum. So this is the document that says
it tells you every way to lose. You're going to lose your money.
Yes, it's going to tell you you're going to lose your money. Your kids are going to lose their money. Your neighbor's going to lose their money. Your gardener, everybody's losing money.
So in order for me to raise money,
you have to make a document that says you're gonna take the money and you're gonna lose it.
I go, all right, Veena, you have a deal.
How does that make sense?
Exactly.
This is what happens.
In big, bold capital letters.
Veena says, hey, it is all a Ponzi. Veena comes to me and says, Pace, we got a deal. Do you want to bring $9 million to the table?
Yeah.
I go, yeah, I'd like to bring $9 million to the table. What's my first step?
Call your attorney.
Call my attorney.
Call Nick.
Okay. I call my attorney and I go, hey, Nick. Okay. Nick is her attorney that we've used. Yeah. And he's great. I need you to write a PPM for me.
Yes.
Now, that's going to cost, with a lot of attorneys, your attorney's basically in-house.
$30,000.
$30,000 is kind of the average.
Yeah.
Wow.
You don't pay that.
No.
But people new to the industry spend $30,000 just to have the legal right to be able to raise money.
Yes.
And then you have to hand this big, thick, juicy boy, this PPM, to a prospective investor and go, before I ask for your money,
Go
I
read
would-
all this.
I would like to tell you
Wow.
every way that you are going to lose all of your money in this
and
situation.
how this is going to go wrong and why this is a terrible idea to begin with.
So
Wow.
just for you guys,
Wow.
PPM is one of the most commonly
That's
used
crazy.
acronyms in multifamily.
Yes.
You have to learn that word. And when Jamil was talking about earlier, people going to prison, it's because they either A, weren't
Don't
raising
have
money
one.
without one.
Mm.
It is. If somebody sent you a deal and you said, send me the PPM, and they said, I don't have a PPM,
Nope.
what would you say?
No, block.
You
Block.
go, oh,
Block.
immediately,
Block.
I am not going to
Block.
go to prison with you.
Wow.
But you know what? It's a common misconception that you have to have a PPM with a 506c raise. You actually don't need
Nobody
one.
knows what a 506c raise is yet. We're getting there.
Okay, we're getting
Okay, so what's a sponsor
I'm
and
too
what's a
We got
GP?
wholesalers out here. You know?
Okay, so sponsor is the person that's putting out the offering, the people that are promoting the deal and saying, hey, this is a great deal. The people on the PPM that tell you how you're going to lose all your money, those are the sponsors. Your GPs, your general partners, are the people who are on the active side of the deal.
Meaning
So
They're the operators.
yes, they're the operators, they're the managers of the deal. They're the ones that are making all
They're going to show
of
up
the
to the
decisions.
site. They're going to decide what color tile.
Yes.
They're going to say, we should not put laundry in here. We should put
Yes.
laundry in here. I don't like fluorescent pink. I like fluorescent pink.
Correct.
That's their
We're
job.
going to buy it. We're going to sell it. We're not going to sell it at this price. We're going to put in a dog park. We're not. Every decision gets made by the general partners of the deal. Usually the GP or the general partner and the sponsors are the same, but every now and then you'll have a GP who's not a sponsor of the deal because they're not promoting the deal. So there is a very small difference. Usually like 99% of the time they're going to be the same and they're going to be interchangeable, but very technically speaking, they're not.
Okay. So you got the GP
Yeah.
and the sponsor.
Yeah.
They go out and raise money.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how do you do? There's multiple ways to raise money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What are the ways to raise money?
You mean like from LPs?
No. Yeah, from LPs. You want to go and find LPs.
Family office.
I'm sorry.
Fund of
Not where
funds.
money comes from.
Oh, okay.
What?
Oh, you're talking about the exemptions.
Yeah, the
what
exemptions.
Okay,
And
yeah.
why do we have to call them exemptions? Because it's so stupid.
Yeah.
Everything in multifamily, it's like, why? How can we complicate this even
Yes,
further?
that is true. That is actually accurate. Okay, so these are securities. We're selling securities. When I say like, hey, Jamil, give me $100,000 to go buy this asset, I'm selling you a security.
Only if it's a Ponzi scheme, Veena. I don't invest in anything.
You don't invest in anything else.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Okay, then you'll have to find another sponsor. Okay, so
Ah.
I can't.
Ponzi.
Okay, so I'm selling a security. The SEC says if you're selling a security, you have to register your security.
Wow.
Unless you have an exemption. Then you can sell an unregistered security.
And most syndicators go underneath an exemption. Is that correct?
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, it is much easier, and real estate has so many great exemptions to rely on. Like, you would be kind of stupid not to. And this is where your attorney or Nick or whoever you use, right, will guide you through this process of what makes sense for you. But you want to find an exemption. And without like overcomplicating it, this is just the SEC. There's like other different rules you have to fit into, like Investment Company Act, Investment Advisor Act. You have to fit into all three. So anyway, you go out, you find your exemption, and there's 4 major exemptions. Do you want me to break down the 4 exemptions?
Wow.
You guys will hear these so commonly.
Yeah.
You don't notice you're hearing them, but you're hearing them all the time. You see how wholesalers, their brains start oozing through their brain. Their brains start going through their ears. They're like, I can't pay attention to this because I don't know any of these
Too
words mean.
detailed.
But if you're a wholesaler and you come to me and you go, hey,
Am I
this
wrong? Am I
deal
wrong?
underwrites on a
hard.
506C or a 506B, I'm
What
all
is-
of a sudden like, oh, okay, you're not a wholesaler. Tell me more, multifamily
This
person.
is how you get to level up.
Yes.
You actually
Yeah.
understand these words.
Yes.
So
yes,
tell us the
100%.
4 exemptions, and then
Okay.
we'll stop making everything hard on wholesalers.
All right, 4 exemptions. You have your Reg A, which is you can raise from both accredited and non-accredited investors.
And the
Who-
public and the
who
general
private-
The general
public.
public, yeah.
Yep.
Who primarily uses Reg A that everybody knows?
Grant Cardone.
Yeah, Grant Cardone. See, Jamil knows things about multifamily.
Jamil in
So,
there now.
yeah, he uses a Reg A. And so you can raise money from
Wait.
anybody.
Shaba. He uses reggae too. That was a good one. Holy moly, that was one of the
I don't
best
know who
dad
that
jokes
is.
I've ever
It's
told.
a
Yo,
reggae
not a
music
single
joke,
person.
I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm too young.
He said Venus
I don't
a
know.
Texas gangster.
Gosh.
I don't know, Big Bro.
No.
No.
How
No?
about
What am I
Sean Nepal?
Okay.
He uses a reggae.
Oh,
Ah!
my God.
Okay, sorry, keep going.
Okay. Okay.
Oh Lord. What am I
Reggae, I
doing?
get it. I see what you did here. That was actually smart.
That was so
appreciate it.
good. Come
I
on.
appreciated it. That was good. We were just too in the zone to appreciate your
You
genius.
guys are getting some hot game right now. Hot gems. Put flames in the chat for Veena.
Okay, so you have your reggae.
Yes.
Regulation A,
Come on.
to be clear. Is there anything else that needs to be said about this anymore?
I've heard reggae so many times, but nobody connected that.
I know.
It had to be Jamil.
Yeah. It's how he earns his keep.
Real's a beast,
Please
man.
don't spit on
I
me.
won't.
Thank
Crazy.
you.
I won't.
So, okay, so you have your regulation A.
Yes.
I will never say that again without thinking about you, Jamil.
Good.
So, okay, then you have your Reg CF, which is I like to call it Reg Cash Flow, but it's actually Regulation Crowd Fund. And this is where you can raise, also, you can generally solicit, you can raise from accredited and non-accredited investors, and you can generally solicit,
Wow.
but you can only raise $5 million in a year.
Got it.
Which is fine if you're starting out.
Sure.
It's not great if you are trying to buy $100 million deal because it doesn't even
Doesn't matter.
It's like not even my reserve account, right? So you really need to make sure that it's the right deal size for Reg CF. The two most common exemptions relied on are under Regulation D, 506B, and 506C are the two. So 506B raise, you can raise as much money as you want, but you can only raise it from pre-existing substantive relationships. That means you have to know every single investor.
How long do you have to know them for?
It's clear as mud on that. It's just substantial.
Every time I talk to an SEC attorney about this, they go, "It depends."
Yeah.
And the SEC doesn't even.
They don't clarify.
It's not clear.
No, they do not clarify.
So what we always say in that is we say family and friends and family, obviously.
Yeah.
But if somebody reaches out to me and I've done a deal with them,
oh, well, that's a business partner. That's
There you go.
different. That's a substantial
or
relationship.
somebody that has met with you in person, you've gone to dinner,
Multiple times.
Or
Multiple
if you're ever asked by somebody and like, hey, does this person have a reg or an irregular D?
Wow.
Is yours
That's
irregular?
never been on
Wow.
my questionnaire.
This is how it goes.
Okay, so
This is how it goes.
most syndicators that you know are underneath Reg
That's
D.
how it goes.
Yeah, Reg
Right.
D 506B usually.
It
Actually.
goes
Okay.
left quick.
Why? So most
But-
syndicators that are raising money are Reg D
Yeah,
underneath what?
506B.
506B. Why?
Because you can also raise capital from up to 35 unaccredited but sophisticated investors. Now, what is a sophisticated investor?
They wear Burberry.
Nobody knows.
You can't say.
Nobody knows. The SEC does not say what exactly makes them
Because there's a big difference. Because
Floating.
accredited, we know they make $250,000 a year, 200, 250,
200,000
$200,000
a
last
year,
2 years.
and they have to have a net worth of at least $1 million.
Or it's
Yeah.
it's not and.
It's
Or.
only 200?
200
Did
if
that
you're
change?
single, 300 if you're married.
I thought that was 250.
No,
Okay, I thought it was 252,
and
but
it's not
she
and.
knows.
It's or.
Right.
So
And or.
$1 million
Right. No,
in
just
net
or.
worth,
Okay.
excluding your primary home. So like those California investors, you cannot count the equity in your home.
Nisha Hyde asked if there's a Reg Double D.
There's not one yet.
Not yet.
Okay, so
we make multifamily fun.
the rest of us are so boring at it.
No, you're amazing.
How you doing? Great. They love you.
It's okay as long as you pay me like a multifamily investor. You can call me boring.
So if I'm
They love you.
I want to go out and I want to raise money for the first time.
Yeah.
Most wholesalers transitioning and upgrading to a multifamily
Yeah.
are probably going to go Reg D what?
506B.
506B. Why? One more time.
Because know, like, and trust. The people that know, like, and already trust you are the most likely to invest with you. You likely already have a relationship. You don't have a track record, so it's really hard to get stranger accredited investors to be like, okay, here's my money. Unless it's Jamil, he'll write anybody a check apparently. And then, sorry,
Ponzi,
Too soon?
Ponzi.
Is it too soon?
No.
Because now it's
It's
right
not
on
too
time.
soon. It's right on time.
No.
I think this shows us that he's ready to tell the
He's
world.
ready.
Yeah, I'm completely fine about it.
Dorian Dudley, by the way, says, I'm taking mad notes right now.
Amazing. I love it.
Guys, if you came here and you learned a handful of things,
Man.
please make a comment in the side
Yes.
chat. Let Veena know.
Amazing.
Let
amazing.
Veena know you've learned new terminology. They're going to be all you should have on your YouTube channel
Go my YouTube channel.
a 3 or 4 minute video on every single one of these words. Of
Seriously.
like, what is a PPM, right?
Oh.
You guys agree with her?
Yeah,
Okay.
really break all that
Okay.
stuff
I have
down.
that in a long format video.
You
I can
do?
break it down. Yeah.
Okay. You need to break it down.
Yeah,
Nah,
I
that's
will.
dope.
That's
Okay.
actually a good idea.
Nah, that's dope.
Nisha Hyde says she's learning a boatload.
I love it.
I have notes from all of you guys, way too many. One of them is reggae. That's so freaking good. Do any of you wholesalers have questions about what one word that she said today that you don't know what that word means?
Wait, I didn't even finish all of the regulations.
Wow.
You said the four.
No, I didn't say
Reggae,
Reg
Reg
C
CF.
or 506C. I said
Oh,
Reg
okay,
D,
yeah,
506C.
Reggae or
Tell us.
Rexy?
Okay, so on a B though, I didn't finish the most important part.
Go ahead.
You cannot generally solicit. So you cannot go on Instagram, Facebook, and say, I have a deal, come invest with me, because you're soliciting the general public. But if you want to be able to do that, you can use 506C. That means you can raise unlimited amounts of money. You can go and you can publicly advertise. The caveat, and you don't even have to know all of your investors, but the caveat is every single investor has to be an accredited investor. No exceptions, no ifs, ands, or buts.
For sure.
And the SEC says, it's not enough for me to just say like, hey, Jamil, are you accredited? I have to take reasonable steps to verify your accreditation
What's
status.
one of the steps?
So we use a third party, either CPA, your attorney, your financial advisor can write me a letter.
There are companies that do this.
Verify Investors, the one that I think is probably the biggest. There's probably a few more, but they'll do this. They'll write a letter for your investor that you can accept and say, okay, Verify Investor, your CPA told me you're accredited. They have a license. They said they verified it. I can reasonably rely on that, unless I have information that I know it's a lie or whatever.
And if they say I'm accredited, they give you the money, and then everything goes to crap, you're liable if they sue you.
I mean, it depends.
Yes.
Not to be an attorney,
Yeah.
It depends, right? Like, I theoretically gave you a PPM that told you this was going to happen,
Right.
And so, if one of these things happens and you go to an attorney, they're probably going to be like, "Well, they told you," and you're going to be like, "No, you didn't." I'm going to pull it out and I'm going to say, "Here, it's right here. You signed this document,"
Right.
Which is why a PPM is important. So on a 506C raise, you don't actually have to have a PPM. This SEC does not require it, but it is so much cleaner and easier to have one, because maybe you're raising money and I tell you one thing and I tell you one thing and I tell you something else and you something else. That becomes a problem because I have to treat all investors the same in the same share class. So it's cleaner, it's easier, it's the right way to do things. It protects you, it protects your investors, it makes you professional. So you should spend the money to do it.
For sure.
Can you become a billionaire through multifamily, Veena, in your lifetime?
I mean, sure.
What would you do to accomplish that?
Just keep buying assets.
Mhm.
And
Hold
buying
on to
and
'em.
selling them, 1031 exchanging them.
Mm.
Because you have to remember too, multifamily is so highly tax efficient and it's highly scalable. So I can buy 500 doors in one day.
Yeah.
It's very hard to do that with single family. To even find 500 doors that you want to buy. I mean, like, not for you guys because you sift through.
Sure.
How many deals do you have to look at to buy 500 units?
A lot.
Single family?
Yeah.
A lot.
A
Thousands,
lot.
tens of thousands.
500?
He just buys
He buys
anything he
everything.
sees. He doesn't care.
Everything, because my way I'm grabbing.
Well, when I first started acquiring and putting in my portfolio, it would be 1 in 25 deals that I would touch would become a deal I would put in the portfolio. But now that I've trained so many people,
You have an army of people that find deals.
I have an
for you.
army of I have a community. Like
Okay,
if I,
but what's the top of funnel? Like, how many do they look at to get to?
leads, okay? You have to look at basically 50 leads before one becomes a deal.
Okay, so you're looking at thousands of deals before
Yeah,
you're buying
for sure.
500. And so that's like the big difference between multifamilies. I just have to find one asset that makes sense. Now I have to look at several hundred deals to make that happen, but the scale on those assets is
Yeah.
different. And the thing that people don't realize is you can
Ooh.
use these exemptions.
This is my favorite question of the whole night. Why would an investor use you? Can't they just invest themselves?
Sure.
But tell me why. Like your typical
Like, I don't
investor,
know, right?
okay, because you raise $100
Yeah.
plus million in your life,
Yeah.
which means you have
200.
hundreds, if not thousands, of
Yeah.
investors. Break people's like belief system in thinking that why would somebody invest in me when they could just go invest in themselves?
They don't want to. They won't. What did you say to me?
But why? Who's the demographic?
They're-
Tell me the personality. What do they do
They're
for a living?
professionals. They're doctors, lawyers, engineers, small business owners. They already do something really well. They've already invested so much time and energy and effort to be really great in orthopedic surgery. they're not now going and trying to learn how to do this, right? So they want they need their money to work for them, and they need it to be tax efficient.
Look, this is even for me, I'm a single family wholesaler.
Yeah.
Okay. I have I'm going to lay it out. This year, I have a $1.4 million tax liability. Okay. Because I generate so much income from wholesaling houses. Now, for me, there's no chance in heck that I can buy is nearly enough single family houses to get the depreciation that I need in order to help me with that tax situation. So hence what brought me into the world of Ponzi.
How was the tax write-off on that?
Actually, you want to know what I did get? I got because I had $1 million loss on that. Mm-hmm. Because I get to claim corporate theft, so
you get to write all of it.
I'm going to write down 900,000 of the million. So not that bad. I'm like, okay, you know what? It hurt, it sucked, but it took a big chunk out of my taxes off. So I can sleep at night.
To be clear, there are better ways to get tax write-offs.
Yeah,
seriously.
But I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But really though, like, you know, the facts is that that's because I'm a single family guy. I'm a single family wholesaler. That's my specialty. It's my niche. It's what I do. It's how I earn. It's how I live. I love it. I enjoy it. I get it. But it also generates so much cash that I have to put stuff in other places to get the depreciation, which is why I would invest in you. Mm-hmm. And I'm an investor and I could do it myself, but I'm not sophisticated enough to understand that at that level. I didn't spend 22 years understanding multifamily. I did that in single fam.
Yep. Yeah. It's the same reason why I invest in single family and new dev and hotels and I bought a production studio. Like I'm not the operator on those because I don't want to ever know those as well as I know multifamily. I just want to know I want to have one trick and do that trick really well. Now, I'll also say this, even as someone who's in this space, last year I invested $4.5 million in other sponsors deals that were doing multifamily. They're my competitors actually. And competitors invest into my deals because we get diversity, right? So I can put millions of dollars into one of my own deals, but if I put it into someone else's deal, now my risk is spread out across multiple assets, multiple operators, multiple markets, multiple doors. So there are definitely people that will invest in you. And listen, you don't even knowing how to raise capital is a skill everybody should know, including wholesalers, because you can syndicate a wholesale business. You can raise this capital to create the infrastructure of what you guys have. And so it's not exclusive to just multifamily. It's a great tool for multifamily.
Yeah. I mean, I think my fund is done now for our single family fund, but but I will be raising capital for single family houses that I have an expertise in, that I have ultimate access to, unlimited access to.
And you have the best access.
Right. So it makes sense for me to have a fund that plays in that world. Right. Yeah. But again, I only want to be investing or being a part of people who are super experts at that, right? Yeah. Like you're a super expert. I would write you a check. Excellent. I learned that though, right? You learn that over time.
Yeah, and look, there's risk in everything, right? Like I know we're joking about like Ponzi schemes and stuff, but there's risk in everything. And I'll say like once you raise capital from an investor, you'll never sleep the same again because the level of responsibility is just so much higher. And I have investors that say this to me all the time. They're like, oh, but you charge all these fees. Why don't I just go and get my group of friends together and do this? And I'm like,
do it.
Please do. That's what I say. I go, please do. Call me if you have any questions or if I can help you. And when you decide you don't want to do it, come back and give me that money and I'll take care of it. They always come back every single time because it's not easy.
Right.
How long have you been doing it?
Like 100 years. So I left corporate America in 2012.
Okay.
And started investing for myself. I actually bought single family homes, a lot from wholesalers. And then I bought 5 homes in a week. And I was like, this is not even a little bit scalable. And I hate this. Mm-hmm. And I was self-funding everything. And so then I was like, there's got to be a better way. And I really loved the residential side. I just didn't know people could buy multifamily that wasn't like Oprah.
Yeah.
And so I went out and I found people who were smarter than me and who knew more than me and told me like, this is the way. And that's how I started buying multifamily. It's almost like 9 years ago.
Squat up.
It's nice.
Squat up.
That's the move.
That's all it is.
Here's the move.
This is a class.
You want to get into multifamily?
For real.
Hang out with people doing multifamily for 9 years.
That's one.
Because what you'll do is you'll take my learning curve from your 9 years, and you'll take my learning curve to 4.
Yes.
Maybe 2.5.
Yeah.
Maybe 3.
Especially if you took notes on this call.
Yes, there's a lot of people who took a lot of notes.
Yeah.
Check this out. Jeremy Harlow says, Pace, I see now why you brought Veena to the stage. Brilliant.
Oh,
Amazing.
Shout out Veena.
Thank you.
Now,
This is amazing.
Champ,
How much money are you going to raise now?
Listen,
are you guys
not doing anything without Veena?
boom. Are you guys trying to acquire deals, or are you trying to wholesale deals?
I'm trying to do it all. I believe we're trying to do it all. Of course, getting into the wholesaling space, of course, because I love it. But like I said, and just like Jamil said, I got a nice, crew of buyers. A lot of different athletes and celebrities. I think I can acquire a lot.
And they're trying to put stuff in their portfolio
all the time.
1, to offset their taxes,
All
2,
the
to
time.
create passive income for their legacy.
All the time.
Do you,
especially right now with this whole wave of entrepreneur, and they have so much access to so much information now. Before of course, I believe, that was another reason why a lot of the athletes in general always got burnt, because we didn't have access to, so much information, and we just handed it off to business managers or whatever the case may be. But it's so much information out here for these guys now that they're really trying to get trying to put their entrepreneur hats on.
I love it.
And they want to try to jump in, and I got to show them the way. What you got to show them?
You got to lead. You got to lead the way.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
That completes Wholesale Hotline for the night. I have nothing going on this week except the most important thing. I'm going to be at Brent's event.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to be hanging out with people in the hallways. Who's coming to that? Who you guys coming to that? Shout out live audience. Okay.
That's going to be fun.
Now, for people that couldn't, I know the event sold out. I know the VIP sold out way before all of that. How can people watch this from streaming? Matt,
do we have a link?
do you have a link?
Oh, he's putting it up. Awesome.
Okay. Ingrid Hernandez, VIP baby.
Yeah.
I just went on a hike with Ingrid the other day.
Yes, she watched me be great.
You made it.
I made it.
Incredible.
Yeah, you were great.
It was great.
So I have nothing but just hanging out with your people that are coming to your event. I'm super excited about this. Brent Daniel should be doing this every single year, if not twice a year, personally. What do you have going on this week?
Yeah, that's it. That is it. We are gearing up for the best event ever.
Nice.
Saturday and Sunday.
Nice.
GrowthSummit2023.com. If you're interested in participating and you can't be there, we'd love for you to be here. But if you can't make it, go there and stream it. And I'm telling you, if you don't, you're going to be 6 months behind. You're going to be 6 months behind if you do not stream this event.
I know one thing. My man Andre here is looking for deals. Andre, where should people be sending you deals? In what markets?
Oh man, Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, Texas,
Woo.
in the South.
All right. What email address should they be sending them to?
Got Berto Capital.
PaceJMorby@me.com.
Berto Capital 83 at Gmail.
What-
I'm gonna change it
Veena.
up. I gotta change it up,
Bro,
soon.
she gave everybody a complex tonight. Me
She
too.
did. Yeah, now I'm gonna go back home and switch it up.
Come on, it's
I
$6.
I'm
Pay
gonna have
Google. Pay
You don't have your
Google.
own
$6.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to.
do you even exist if
I'm
you
gonna
don't
go
have a
back home and
website?
change everything.
Yes.
After this conversation.
Amazing.
Me too.
BertoCapital83@gmail.com.
Yeah, y'all send it to me.
Were you born in '83?
I was.
40,
too?
baby. Boom.
It's coming. I'm not.
What's your birthday?
I'm not there yet. September 7th.
September 7th. Cool.
Virgo.
What's it? Oh, he's a Virgo.
Come on, man. We the best.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
that is not
Are Virgos
true.
the best?
No,
What-
Leos are clearly the best.
Leos are very loyal.
Don't
What
do
are
that.
you're
He's
I'm a
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius.
That's why we get
Sag-
along.
Sagittarius. That's a religion,
We're
right?
We're fire signs.
Wow.
Oh, Monday.
Aw.
Guys, this was
There she
Wholesale
goes.
Hotline. Thank you all for tuning
Amazing
in. We'll
one.
see you next week. Peace.
Or just say squat up.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
What are you doing?
I didn't say nothing.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
So squat up and enjoy the show. Cool. I think we should use the one where Jamil doesn't say anything.